Hey guys! So we got 3 chapters left in the book, so I'm going to finish those 3 chapters today. Notice I'm not wearing Giants gear. I got the Warriors representing the wrong sport. You're going to find out like this story's going to get sad, but you're going to realize what a great baseball player and person that Roberto Clemente was. So chapter 9 is called Back on Top. By 1970, Roberto's many good deeds had become well known. On July 24th, the Pirates honored him with a special ceremony at their home ballpark in Pittsburgh. Dozens of friends and family flew up from Puerto Rico for Roberto Clemente night. Even Melchor came up with Luisa, finally overcoming his fear of flying. So finally his dad's actually going to be up there. His family and sons looked on proudly. Speeches were made in Spanish and English, honoring and thanking Roberto. Roberto asked people to donate money to a Pittsburgh Children's Hospital rather than to honor him with gifts. So think about how he started in the late 50s, early 60s, and here it is finally in the 1970 that they're not making fun of his Spanish. They're honoring him. They're acknowledging him. In early 1971, at a banquet in Houston, Roberto was given the Trice Speaker Memorial Award as a top player by the Baseball Writers Association of America. They were among the same people who had insulted him in the past, the same people who had once made fun of his accent. This time, they chose him for his achievements on and off the field. By speaking out against racism, by always encouraging Puerto Ricans, and by giving time and money to make others' lives better. Roberto had become more than just a ball player. The writers had finally recognized that. In a speech accepting the award, he said these memorable words about his life and his goals. If you have a chance to accomplish something that will make things better for people coming behind you, and you don't do that, you are just wasting your time on earth. So that's pretty amazing. If you think about that, he's saying, like, if you don't improve things, then what about the people behind you? What about one day your kids or my grandkids if I don't try and make the world better? In 1971 season, and was another triumph. So triumph is another victory, another great thing for the Pirates and for Roberto. That year, the Pirates won the NL East Division in the regular season. That sent them off to the playoffs, where they beat the San Francisco Giants. Boo. The victory gave Pittsburgh a matchup against the Baltimore Orioles in the World Series. So there he is here talking to the reporters. Remember before they were mocking him? Just to reach the first game in the World Series, however, Roberto had to rally himself one more time. While in Baltimore before the first game, he became very ill with food poisoning. The doctor was worried. I was worried, said Vera. He didn't sleep at all, and he went to the game and played well. So, I don't know if you've ever had food poisoning. I had it once. It knocked me out for a week. So I can't imagine deciding to go be able to play in a sport, running around, because it's not pretty. He did better than that. He dominated. Roberto had hit in every one of the 7 games. He played perfect defense. His home run in Game 7 put the Pirates in the lead for good. After hitting .414 in the World Series, he was named World Series Most Valuable Player. Roberto was now the game's biggest star. Among the joy of Roberto Clemente night, a night earlier, this World Series was a high point for Roberto's career. So he's celebrating the win. He received his award amid the celebration in the clubhouse. While being interviewed on live television, Roberto spoke from his heart, and he did so in Spanish, which had never been done during a Major League Baseball broadcast live. He spoke to the people he loved most in his family. So in Spanish, he said, I'm going to read the English part. In this most important day of my life, I give blessings to my boys and ask that my parents give their blessing. A year later, as he was considering retiring from baseball, Roberto got his 3,000th hit. In 1972, he was the 11th player to reach that mark. He was the first Hispanic player with 3,000 hits. The Pirates made the playoffs again in the 1972 season, but lost the NL Championship Series to the Cincinnati Reds. Roberto, as he did every season, said goodbye to his teammates and went back to Puerto Rico. They did not know they would never see him again. Chapter 10. So this gets sad. In November 1972, Roberto was named the manager of an all-star team for Puerto Rico. He traveled to Nicaragua to play in the tournament. During these weeks, Roberto did what he always did. He led baseball clinics and he visited sick children in the hospital. He met one young man with injured legs and promised to help him pay for his surgery. So there he is in Nicaragua. Every morning, he took a bag of coins and he went out to the streets and passed out money. Roberto grew very close to the Nicaraguan people in the short visit. Before he returned home, he brought a pet spider monkey for Ricky. Oh, he brought a pet spider monkey for his kid. Toys for his children and new clothes for Vera. He had many presents for his parents and other relatives. In late December, a terrible earthquake struck Nicaragua. Many of the people Roberto had just met were killed or injured. 5 square miles at the center of Magura was destroyed. Roberto immediately started to help. He organized a drive to raise money and gather needed supplies such as food, medicine, and clothing. He went on TV and radio and urged people to give money and support to the earthquake victims. Soon a plane was making flights from Puerto Rico to Nicaragua. Not long after the supplies began arriving in Nicaragua, Roberto heard that they were being misused. So here he is trying to raise money and donate, and he's finding out that the supplies aren't being used properly or as promised, and not always given to the people who needed them most. He was shocked, but he knew that what he had to do. He would go himself to make sure that the people, his friends, got what they needed. As he was getting ready to leave for Nicaragua, he found that there was too much to carry in one plane. To take all the supplies that the people had donated, Roberto hired a second plane. He did not know that the second plane had recently been in a crash. He did not know that most of the crew had little experience flying this kind of large aircraft. And he did not know that they overloaded the plane by thousands of pounds. He only wanted to help. So probably, as you can imagine, like those are all 3 bad things. The plane isn't working properly, the crew doesn't have a lot of experience, and there's way too much weight in that small plane. Just after 3 p.m. on New Year's Eve, the plane carrying Roberto and the relief supplies lumbered down the runway in San Juan. The aircraft rose slowly, but just barely cleared trees at the end of the runway. A moment later, one engine made a loud bang. The pilot tried to turn around, but it was too late. The airplane was over the ocean. It could not turn back. The airplane crashed in the sea. As word got out, thousands of people rushed to the beach near the crash site. Divers went into the water, boats looked for survivors and wreckage. They searched for days. Almost nothing was ever found. The entire island and the baseball world started the new year, 1973, with a sad, shocking news. Roberto Clemente was dead at the age of 38. So there's like the memorial that they started. So last chapter, chapter 11, his legacy today. All of baseball was stunned by Roberto's death. His family could not believe it, but they were all proud of what people said about Roberto. Letters and notes poured in from all over. Teammates and other friends flew from Pittsburgh to Puerto Rico for a funeral mass. Eventually, money raised in his name would help build a children's wing in the hospital of Nicaragua. Just a few days after he died, the Baseball Hall of Fame announced that he could be voted right away. Usually they have to wait. Normally, a player must wait 5 years after his career ends to earn such an honor, but after the voting was over, Roberto was named to the Hall of Fame in March of 1973. It is only the second time that the baseball writers who wrote the Hall of Fame have done this for a player. The first was Yankees first baseman Lou Gehrig in 1939. You guys should remember about Lou Gehrig and be ready for some questions about him, because you know that he is one of my all-time favorite players, and we've done a lot of reading about him this year. Also that year, Major League Baseball created the Roberto Clemente Award. It is given each season to a player who continues Roberto's legacy. The winning player must excel on the field and be a great help to his community and to the world. The U.S. government honored Roberto as well. President Richard Nixon was one first to personally donate money to help build Roberto's long-for sports center in Puerto Rico. Citizens Medal to Roberto. No. I skipped, sorry. In May 1973, Nixon gave the first presidential Citizens Medal to Roberto. Now that makes sense. Vera traveled to the White House to accept the honor. I think he would be proud to be the first American to get this medal, she said. In 1974, Roberto Clemente Sports City opened in Carolina. Vera went on to run the site for decades. When he died, I felt the responsibility to make a reality of the sports city, Vera Clemente said. My main purpose was to do so by planning what he was planning to do. Roberto Clemente Sports City still attracts thousands of young people year-round for baseball and many other activities. The honors for Roberto continued long after his death. In 1998, a bridge in Pittsburgh near the Pirates' new ballpark was renamed in his honor. I hope you remember what year that was, 1998, because that's going to be a question. So if you're listening to the whole thing. So there's a Roberto Clemente Award. So the Roberto Clemente Award is one of the biggest honors a major league player can receive. It is presented during the World Series in a special ceremony to a player who demonstrates a commitment both to the game and for helping his community. So I'm looking to see, so in 1992, one of my other all-time favorite players, Cal Ripken Jr., got it. So David Ortiz, Boston Red Sox, got it in 2011. Looks like they don't give it. 2009, Derek Jeter got it. Tony Gwynn, he played for the Padres. He did a lot. Dale Murphy, he got an 88. He played for the Braves. Right. I hope you enjoyed that. It really felt timely to do something like this, since we are all, Mrs. Oleski and I especially, are missing baseball so much. So to be able to read about this and think about the awards and hope for some little baseball stuff all week has been just a little bit of brightness and excitement for us. Okay, be ready. Go take the quiz.